No.
What?
You got now. Two baby mamas, especially y'all. Don't kill me. Two black baby mamas ain't gonna get along. We can't get along. Don't get along.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Y'all
Right.
don't shoot me. That's what they say, but that's not true. We know that's not true.
Definitely not true.
Hello, welcome to the Uncoupled Couple Podcast, which is about two baby mamas navigating a unique co-parenting journey.
Closely connected and sharing our experiences. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Elle, and welcome to the Uncoupled Couple.
The Uncoupled Couple. Yes, you're going to learn more about that eventually.
Hello, and welcome to the Uncoupled Couple, a podcast about two baby mamas navigating a unique co-parenting journey.
Closely connected and sharing our experiences. I'm one of your hosts, Nikki, here with my co-host,
Mama Yanni. And welcome to the Uncoupled Couple, the podcast.
That's Mama Yanni to the kids, L to y'all.
Yeah, L to y'all. I'm L.
Oh man, today we have a really good episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about our stepmothers and biological mothers destined to clash. And obviously that is the answer to this, obviously no. They are not destined to clash. I mean, it's really about the people, right, involved. Because I've been on both sides of that coin, right?
No.
What?
You got now, two baby mamas, especially y'all don't kill me. Two black baby mamas ain't gonna get along. We can't get along, don't get along.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Y'all don't shoot me. That's what they say, but that's not true. We know that's not true.
Definitely not true. I really think that it really depends on how she feel about the dude.
That has a
what? I mean, I could have said some other stuff. It felt about her baby daddy.
Because
her guy,
when you don't care anymore, when you don't care about your mother's child or father's child.
Not the child, you mean
when you don't care about
the child's
the baby
father.
mama.
You mean the child's father and child's mother.
And let me stop saying baby mama, baby daddy.
Right.
Because normally I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that. But when you no longer have feelings attached to the other parent, it's so much easier to get along.
Absolutely.
It makes it so much easier.
Listen, you don't.
Yeah.
The only concern about whoever your ex is dealing with should be how they treat your child. Point blank period.
It's all about the kids.
All about the kids.
All about the kids.
And again, I think people really, and I mean, y'all can weigh in. I genuinely believe that the only reason that there's that, tension or that clash is because somebody still got feelings for the other parent.
Right.
Period.
So misconceptions are that, and beyond race or anything, that two mothers, two fathers, they can't get along. The kids don't get along. The other parent doesn't care about the children involved. Those are big misconceptions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's something that we have to do a better job at, right? Because when in the media and different things we see portrayed, when they always talking about, and again, that's normally not, well, we say it lovingly, that's my baby mama, but again, like Elle said, that's not generally how she talks at all. I'd be quicker to say it than she would be, but yeah. But in general, when you see baby mama, baby daddy drama in the media, you always see us, right? You see people of color. They always want to display how we can't get along and we at each other's throats and this and that and so on and so forth. Speaking of
they
that,
want to attach it to something negative.
Absolutely. Definitely. You always see us, right? Portrayed in this negative light. So one example that I love is Russell Wilson and Sierra. The way that he loves Sierra's son, Future, like her, listen, he loves that child. Then on the other coin, you got Future. Always got something greasy to say. Obviously, that boy is still pressed about Sierra. Sir, move around. Go on about your business. Because again, we talking, I don't know, 6-7 years later, Russell and Sierra is planning for child number 5 now.
shit getting it in.
They ain't playing.
5 days.
I know you ain't talking. Didn't you say you wanted 6?
I did want 6, y'all. I wanted 6 kids. I was talking about this the other day at work. I wanted 6 kids. I had it planned. You know, I'm gonna graduate from college. I'm gonna get married, and I'm gonna have 6 kids, and I'm gonna go back to college. And
whoa! You was gonna have 6 kids and go back to college,
then go back and get a master's. That was the plan.
Let's be clear, friend. If you'd had them 6 kids, in that case, I'm not gonna say it can't be done. But the likelihood of you going back to get that master's after 6 kids is probably very slim. And then how far apart was these kids gonna be?
That's the thing, because you know, and then if I had started as late as I did, I had Isaiah.
Your original plan.
My original plan. I would have, had I got a man, had a husband, I probably would have been 24, 25, 26.
Right. So that was the plan. And we know life happens. Aside from our plans. But the plan was, or even you could have met your husband in college and got married like right after you graduated.
But you know what? Isaiah was a baby when I got my graduate degree. Mm-hmm. And had it not been for my circle helping me, like April, Akira, her daughter who kept her, and James and my aunt, and just all this support, and it would have been hard. So I dwindled down. I said, okay, I'll have 3. If I was younger, even if I was younger now and married, because I said I wouldn't have no more unless I was married. Mm-hmm. And nothing gets said, just my thing. I would have had 2 more. So
gotcha. Okay.
But I ended up with more.
Definitely ended up with way more.
So it worked out.
And you ain't have to get no stretch marks for them. So hey, that's the benefit, right?
So yeah. That's what I was talking about.
So just talking about co-parenting with Grace and stepmothers mm-hmm. and biological mothers having to clash. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think majority wise, right, it's really if that other parent still has feelings for the parent that's moved mm-hmm. on. I mean, or they could just be like a terrible, that's what I was gonna say, a terrible human being.
Some
right?
People just anyway.
That part.
Some people just evil.
Absolutely.
I don't use that word often. Some people can be like really just mean.
Can be.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the challenges that you face? Like, because for you and me, you know, we got very different experiences, right? Like, I was married to James, you never were, you know, mm-hmm. and you do have a biological child with him. I don't, you know. So our experiences were, you know, a little bit different in that regard. So like, I hope, you know, that I made it easy, you know, for you. But, you know, that ain't everybody's story. So like, what challenges did you face in this whole thing? Because I had mine, but they were different and had nothing to do with you.
My biggest challenge, and you know of, and I've mentioned this before, is when I was out of work and I was on my grandmother's couch. And Isaiah would come over on the weekends, you know, because it started because I didn't want. She stayed in the West End, rough. She was in the rough part, say that. And there's no way that I wanted Isaiah to be in that school that was around the corner. Didn't want him. Of course, he wouldn't be walking to school by himself. I'm like, Lord, how am I gonna do this? I guess I'm gonna have to work at night, yada yada. And Nikki was like, well, let him go to school here. He can live here. And I'm like, oh, I want my baby there, you know. So he was there during the week, and he would be with me on the weekends, and that was so hard for me. Like we had mentioned before, I wanted to still feel that I was attached to him, and I had some upbringing. So I would say I want to wash his clothes. Nikki had a whole washer and dryer, but I felt I needed something, and she understood that. So I would take his clothes and uniforms with me and go to the laundromat, even though she had a whole washer and dryer with her. So that was the biggest challenge for me, because other than that, Nikki made everything so much easier. You know, that's when I say my tribe, that's what we said, baby mama, because I got like the best baby mama, you know, ever. For real. So that for me, that was another challenge. Let me get another challenge. So when they were in Illinois, the kids went to O'Fallon Township, wonderful school district. So when they told me they moving to Illinois, I'm like, dang. I was like, how we gonna make that work? Da-da-da-da-da. And again, thinking I'm gonna have to keep him over here, keep him out the school district and all of that. How I'm gonna get him to school, where he's gonna go. Nikki said, nah, he ain't come on over here. I was like, and I had this truck that I didn't want to put on the highway because it was iffy. She said, I could show you how to get there without getting on the highway.
Definitely did. Took that
From
East
St.
Bridge
Louis,
through East St. Louis.
and I drove through East St. Louis every day. It was like
took that scenic route.
What, 30 to 40-minute drive, but I made it, and then I tell people, y'all know I know how to get to Illinois all the way in O'Fallon without getting on the highway. And they go, what? I say, yeah. So this is what she did. She literally drove the route. And one day she say, follow me. I'm going to show you how to get over here without getting on the highway. And we took that scenic route, driving through East St. Louis and some not the best areas, but it didn't bother me because I'm from North St. Louis. So I'm like, whatever,
Because we wanted them to be in a great school
and that's
district.
the sacrifice I did. And she showed me how to maneuver to get there without getting on the highway. I wasn't afraid to get on the highway. I just didn't trust that truck on the highway. And so those are the two biggest challenges. And this sister right here helped me to maneuver through those challenges. Even showing me, hey, I'm gonna show you how to get over here without getting on the highway.
Gotcha. And that's funny because like you think back, I don't even remember that for real. Because like after we moved to Illinois, we lived over there for till they graduated, right? And they were in middle school.
They were in middle school
because they went to O'Fallon Township High School. When we moved over there, they went to Carriel. And Elijah went to Laverna Evans Elementary. But yeah, they were in excellent school districts. Wanted them to have quality education. I was like, we can't afford to put them in private school, but
we've done that before too.
But
remember at the church?
Yes,
we've done that. Before
when they was
too.
little. Yeah,
they've been homeschooled.
So we wanted to make sure they had, we always try to give them the best, right?
And Nikki gonna find it.
Oh, listen.
Program, summer
resources.
camps.
I'm gonna find.
She found the resources.
Listen,
I thought I was a resource queen. This one right here.
You ain't be telling me my kids can't do nothing. I don't do that. Nah, my kids can have anything they want. I'm gonna make sure they have it. Period. Point blank. Like that's it. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna find a scholarship. We're gonna find a grant. We're gonna find, something. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want their, like I say, fundraise, whatever we needed to do, because I wanted them to be well rounded. And I wanted them to have all the experiences and things like, growing up, I didn't have a lot of money, but something that my mom did, she made sure that we went to museums and things like we had a lot of culture and different things. So going to museums. And
I've been told, how you taking these boys out and you ain't got no money? There's things to do.
And we could pack lunches. Like
we've done that.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure
they still talk about when we went used to watch the movies downtown on Friday nights. They still talk about that, and they said we want to walk downtown. Downtown was different back then.
The African Arts Festival, the VP Fair. Like we would just take them and make sure.
One year we went. I had them and my nephews at the Shakespeare Festival.
Love that. Oh, that Forest Park. Gotcha. Yeah. I think they still do that, don't they?
Yeah, they still do.
Whatever. What's up. But my challenges were a little bit different because I was married to James. And, more or less, you really only had to deal with me, although, you would pick up Kendall and you have that relationship with Dorian and everything like that. But really, you only had to deal with me. I, on the other hand, had to deal with all the baby mamas. So my ex-husband / baby daddy, Eliana's baby daddy, he had, when I got married to him, he had 4 kids with 4 different women. He now has 6 kids with 6 different women, and we'll get to that later. During our marriage, that number went to 5, and that was one of my hardest challenges. That was because, I had to maneuver and navigate 4 different women, right? And And so obviously L was, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Um, James's ex-wife Deborah was she was just kind of like, she wasn't one way or the other.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? She was
neutral.
just kind of like it was clear she definitely wasn't still checking for James. Like she was
Right.
cool, but she never was like really warm and inviting. She was just that, and that's cool. You know what I'm
Neutral.
saying? Like, I want no drama, don't want no beef. We ain't got to be best
Right.
friends
No,
either.
no rule. I would go pick up Jamie. Hey, Deborah. Say
Yeah,
some talking.
she like hi.
Yeah.
That's like she was
Neutral.
real neutral.
Yeah.
Um, there was some tension from Dorian, but he was engaged to her, and he pretty much was engaged to her, and then they had a baby and all of that. And Kendall is Dorian's only child, and then the engagement, got broken off, and they never married. And Dorian is not with us anymore. She never married actually. And let me be clear, I don't, most women, don't sign up to be a baby mama. That's not the goal, right? The goal is to have a husband and get married and have kids and have a family, right? So yeah, they were engaged, so she had that expectation that they were going to be married and they would have kids together and so on and so forth, And me and Dorian were not as close. We got to a point where we were cordial and she, and everything like that. But probably somewhat like you, Elle, she probably was like, hey, okay, I got this one kid with this guy, but I'm not gonna have any other kids out of wedlock. Again, smart woman, good head on her shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
she had a career with AT&T until like she had one job, like she went to
Mm-hmm.
college, like, a put together woman. This is not like, just somebody out here ripping and running the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, she was intending to marry James and intending to build a family with him. And when that didn't happen, she was like, all right, I'm not about to be out here just having, baby daddies. I'm pretty sure if she wanted more kids, her goal was to do that when she got wed,
Mm-hmm.
which unfortunately did not happen for her. Um, so that was a challenge. But again, like I said, this is a college educated woman, got her stuff together. It was never no like meet me outside type situation. So
Never.
again, a small challenge, but not really a challenge. The biggest challenge for me was our baby girl, Spirit, because we did not find out about her until she was 4, 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5 years old when we found out about Spirit. Her mother had reached out to James on Facebook and found him on Facebook and was like, hey, I got this little girl and she's yours. And I wasn't gonna tell you because, you and me, we didn't really have no relationship like that. And, I know you got married and this and that and moved on with your life. But, she's been asking me, about her dad. And she was like, I want to meet my dad. Who's my dad? And this and that. So
It's mini me.
I felt like I had to reach out to you. So, of course, at that time when I found out, I was devastated because I was married. We were and uh, Spirit was actually born like a couple weeks before James and I got married. So, but at this point, we 4 or 5 years into our marriage, so I'm like, it's too late for me to be mad about that back then. You know what I'm saying? So again, a whole child just popping up out of nowhere. So of course, I was like, you need to get DNA test first because I'm not finna turn my kid's life upside down and bring this new person around and they get attached to her or whatever. And then we kind of find out she's not really your kid or whatever the case may be. So he got a DNA test and um, indeed she was his, which we already knew because baby, she got them Hayes eyes. That's his mom's maiden name. And yeah, she
She is
definitely
a Dickerson woman.
she is. She looked just like them. So I already kind of knew, but again, you know how it be. People look alike sometimes and then end up not being the case. So I just wanted to be sure. And again, it was obviously um, there was a betrayal that happened that obviously resulted in a child. So of course I had angst and hesitancy about bringing this other child in. But when I tell you, her name was Spirit. Um,
A joy.
when I tell you, Spirit was the sweetest, most loving child you would ever meet. That like I couldn't not love this little kid. And again, let me be clear. We are all human. We all have emotions. And I would never mistreat a child, but I didn't want to like her. Let me be clear. I did not. Because I was, upset that she existed, right? Um, but when I tell you that little girl melted my heart and that was my
From the
baby.
moment I met her, the moment she opened her mouth.
And she's just like, I want to hug you. Like just the most loving child you would ever meet. Like just, and her name being Spirit, and she had the sweetest spirit. And she
Her
was
mom
just
knew what she was doing when she named her
absolutely,
Spirit.
absolutely. She was just a joy.
And
Just a
even
joy.
and speaking of that, I wasn't around Mary. I didn't have the relationship I had with the others with her. But when I first met her, it was very pleasant. We were excited to meet each other because Spirit had saw Isaiah and Jay. We were out eating. She was like, "There's my brothers," basically, and that's
Yeah.
when I met Mary. So wasn't around her much, but still, it was a pleasant experience.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
um like I said, didn't have a lot of challenges, but that was the hardest one. And that wasn't even really with a mom at all. It was just the fact of another child coming into play and, finding out that, obviously, he had stepped outside of the relationship and things of that. So of course that was hurtful. But Spirit just being who she was just made it that much easier. And um our kids, they're amazing because um, a lot of kids would have been like, I don't want no other sister, or could have been
They were
mean, or they were
excited.
excited. They welcomed her with open arms. Um, previous to Spirit, it was all boys, and Kendall was all by herself.
Yeah.
And
And they have an older sister, but
but she was
Spirit's an
already
adult.
right, exactly, right.
Grown.
So Kendall was like the only girl in the crew.
Mhm.
So Spirit coming along, Kendall was ecstatic, like, yay, I got a little sister. And they were thick as thieves. And I know some of you listening are probably like, I'm using a lot of past tense words because Spirit is no longer with us. And that'll be a whole episode on a whole different day. I don't even want to go too far into it like right now because I'll get emotional about
Yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah, I know I'm
but
a
yeah,
big crybaby.
yeah. Spirit and Kendall, they were peas in a pod. They were 3 years apart. So a good age. Me and my sisters are like 4.5 years apart, up and down. I'm a middle kid, and I have sisters, so they were 3 years apart. So that's a great age. So that they were not too far apart, where it was
Right.
like, get away from me, you little brat. Like,
Mhm.
they got to play with dolls together and all the things. And yeah, so they were really, really just two of the sweetest little girls that you just would ever
Kendall's
be
so
around.
grown now. I'm like, oh my
I
God.
know,
She's
right?
like grown.
She 20.
She came in,
Elijah
hey, Mommy Yanni.
and Elijah
Grown.
21, and they getting ready to be 21 and 22. Crazy, right?
Man, that time flies
It
by.
does fly. So yeah, that kind of segue into our next point, which is adjusting to extra children. Um, so for me, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's whatever. Like, it's a party, right? Me and my cousins, we grew up more like siblings than cousins. Always used to be in a crew around. And I think that's probably was one of the easy adjustments for you because, you were real close to your cousins and you
Yeah, and I
always
would
had
have
your
my nephews
nephews
all
and
the
stuff. So, like I
time.
said, Isaiah never was like
Yeah,
acted like an only
yeah.
child or
To
anything.
be an
He's
only child,
always
I don't think he felt like an only child because
never, because he always had siblings, but like in your house, he could have felt that, but he didn't even feel that in your household because you always, like your sister, TT, y'all were extremely close. And you always had Shahada. Shahada is his sister. He refers to her
yeah,
as
they're like
such.
they're cousins, but they're like sisters and brothers.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, like, he never was like a only child, brat, and like you wanted a lot of kids. I didn't think that's probably why you always had your nieces and nephews and stuff like that because
Yeah,
like
my
you just
nephews, a
having to,
bunch of
and you
boys.
didn't have Isaiah till later, so you was already like practicing motherhood well before Isaiah came along. So I think that is why that adjustment was so easy for you, and you was like, oh, I'll take them all and this and that. And like I said, a previous episode, like you were talking, like I said, she was with her grandmother. She picked Isaiah up on the weekends and, he would stay during the week. And then after that, her getting the place, he had already been with us probably almost a year.
Mhm.
So, and they were just in their routine. And my oldest and Isaiah are 4 months apart. And when I tell you, just to give y'all a reference, them two is like Sean and Marlon Wayans. Like they were just thick as thieves, and their relationship, just the way they were, like blood could not make them any closer.
Yeah. And they were
Um,
like, they fought, they had each other back, they had their ups and downs,
yeah,
and it's
but they,
always
but
my
and I
brother,
mean, right,
not
that
my half brother, my brother.
my brother.
Mhm.
So I just felt like let's just keep the consistency, and them going to school together. I was like, and they were still young, obviously, like 7, 8.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, I don't, let's just keep them in the same school together. Let's just keep some consistency. So,
We tried to get them to go to the same college, but
well, that didn't pan out, but we got them diplomas from old Fallon Township High School though.
right.
But I was like, let's just keep that going. Let's keep them together. And I was like, yeah. So once she got her place, um, he would do a week with her, a week with us. So we was just like straight down the middle, and she would just drop him off at the house in the middle so they could go to school, and then they walk home, and then like she would get off work and come pick them up from the house. So they was latchkey kids. They had their little keys on their neck so that they could be together. And then that's another thing. Isaiah would have had, if she would have took him and moved him, he would have had to been walking home from school by himself and doing all that. It was 3 of them. So that was even, better. Because like today, you go to a elementary school, it's 400 cars lined up. Kids don't even walk to school no more. Like that's unheard of. But like, it's like so rare. But like we, just safety wise, we was like keeping them together was better. So like I said, Isaiah just never had that only child experience ever.
Yeah,
And
not
then
really.
from there, like I said, we just wanted to keep them together. And also going with, she would keep him a week, and and he would stay with us a week. On the weekends that she had him, one of, like I say, support is just like crazy. Like this woman is the bomb.
Yeah, because sometimes Nikki could get a break from having all the boys. And
Yeah.
in summertime, my dad would keep them. We were talking
Yeah.
about that yesterday. He would have them with about 2-3 weeks, maybe something
Yeah.
like. He'd have all the boys. He'd have Jay, her son. He'd have Isaiah, and he'd have my nephews and my little cousins. So what, like 6 boys?
And
Yeah.
my youngest would be with his dad. But like again,
Yeah, Elijah was
when I
little.
married James, I accepted all of his family. Elle didn't have to take in my kids and love them, and like I say, they had another grandfather, and he, all the things they used to do, and yeah, and it just was a blessing. Like I said, our kids have really had a rich life, all the love and all the people, and I mean, and that's just what it's about. Like what parent doesn't want their child to have a life full of love, right? And that's what you get from just figuring this thing out. You know what I'm saying? And just
The
co-parenting.
perks.
Yeah. And just, being the bigger person and like, okay, the relationship didn't work out or this or that. And then sometimes, you may be in a place where you ready to love and forgive and move forward, and the other person may be. And that doesn't mean that they won't get there because all the relationships that because again, both of my boys, they have two different dads. And again, like I said, James is not their dad. So, I had to navigate those relationships as well. And like my ex-husband, my first ex-husband, Elijah's dad, we were young. So when we were, first broken up, he wasn't doing what he needed to do. And then he got with a woman, that wasn't, on her P's and Q's. And that's another thing. We have to be conscientious about who we couple with after we separate, because anybody that you would attach yourself to that would not allow you to be the best parent to your child, that's already should be a red flag, because it's too many times that we hear about people get into the relationships and they can't see their kid or be in their kid's life because of the other person. And it's like, what grown man or woman is jealous of a child? A love you giving your child, like that right there says it's something wrong with you. Something ain't right with you.
Using the kid as hostage against their parent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Doing
cool.
that right. Not cool at all. So yeah, I think we both adjusted well to having the extra kid. So other than, I think you kind of already touched on it, other than Isaiah, just kind of, trying to have something to like hold on to. Obviously, like with the laundry. Like I said, I had a whole washer and dryer in the house, free of charge.
Whole washer and dryer.
But she wanted to take his clothes to the laundromat, and again, I didn't necessarily know how much it impacted you, but the fact that she was like, I do his laundry, I want to take it. I didn't ask no questions or nothing.
She didn't say why. She did.
I was just like, I understood it, but I didn't know how much of an impact it had. So just kind of talk a little bit more.
Talk about it,
right? Just kind of talk about
it. Wasn't a whole big. Why you didn't? I got it. Right. None of that.
Just talk about your adjustment to Isaiah not being with you, because I know that can be a struggle for people as well, because going from, especially if it's like, you and your ex live together since the child was born to a certain day, and you used to having your child with you every day, and you all, and that was your normal, to now, not only is my child going over there, but it's another woman or another mom in place.
It got real easy after me.
Right. But talk about the struggles at first, because some people probably could be dealing with this right now. I want to know what the struggles was and how you got through that.
How I got through it. And I'm going to keep being on repeat. Nikki made it so easy. And that was the struggle. The struggle wasn't with her. The struggle was with me not seeing my son, on top of not working. And then when I started working, I was maneuvering like, okay, I got to save up because I got to get off my grandmama's couch, and had always had my own place, but life gets to life. And, I feel like I'm talking really loud. I got a big mouth. She said I don't, but I do. But anyway, I'll talk normal. So that was the challenge. The challenge, and how did I maneuver through that? I said, well, this is temporary. It's not always the case. But it got easier because my cousin Lisa was like, girl, look. She said, you got it made. You got, not that I need a break, but she said, you got days where you get some time to yourself. You know how many mamas would like to say, I got a whole week for me, if I need a break. I had a break. So, yeah, that made it easy when I finally was like, oh, my son, I don't have my baby. Then I was like, okay, I'm good. And Yeah, and that's another reason why it was easier to say the boys can come on because I had a whole week and the whole weekend to do what I wanted to do. So yeah, I didn't have big challenges, and maneuvering that was with the help of Nikki and my cousin saying, "Girl, look,
And I'm
you
glad
got
you
time to do what you want to do."
and to say to that, that's so very true because um I had my first child when I was 18. I got pregnant the summer between my junior and senior year in high school. And, I went straight from being a kid to being a mom. I didn't get to go away to college
We
and
talked
things
about
like that. And
Mhm.
then I got married at 19. And then me and my first husband, we had another child. So then I had two kids. And then he left. And I was there with two kids by myself. And I didn't have that support. My mom was not the type like, bring your kids. She's like, nah, baby, them your kids and you got them. So there was a lot of times where I was overwhelmed and I wanted some support and some help and I didn't have it. And I would, do what I need to do for the kids and I would cry myself to sleep at night. And I dealt with a lot of depression in those days. And I didn't have that support. So when I did get married to James, my kids were still younger. And you just don't know how much it was a blessing for you to come and give me that relief. And I like that's something I needed and it really helped me.
And
It
that's
really,
something I
really
didn't
did.
know because I remember we first met. You were in school.
Yeah.
And I would go in the evenings because James would be keeping all the boys in the evening. And I'd be getting on him about what you cook. Did you cook dinner? What they having for I'm
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, and he would cook and everything and they'd be doing their schoolwork. They had schoolwork. And Elijah was a baby.
Yeah.
So
And you just
and I
don't know.
didn't think of it like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, you were
It
in
was a lot.
school.
Yeah. Because I didn't get to go to school right after college because they was little, but I went, slowly but surely. Um, over the, did some stuff at the community college, and then I went to Sanford Brown, and then I transferred those credits, went to Fontbonne, got my bachelor's. A couple years after that, I went back and got my master's. So it can be a challenge, but I have now today been able to realize all of my dreams that I had for myself. And it didn't look perfect and it may not have been the roadmap that I originally set out for myself, but I did it. I did. And it's not without your help and your support.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate you.
My baby mom.
I know, right?
Yes.
So, and like I said, Elle made it easy. Like I said, she was just a good person. And, she didn't even, she didn't look at me crazy like this little young gal, blah, blah, blah. Because, on paper, she old enough to be my mama.
And I didn't realize I was something years ago and
it's
we were
probably
just talking in
because
general. And
everybody
Tisa
called me
was
an
like,
old soul.
Yeah.
And I don't, yeah.
I forget because Tina was like, Nikki young. And I don't, it wasn't nothing bad. I don't know what we talking about. I said, she is. I would forget that. She could I would have had her young, but she could be mine. So that means I'm old. So
No,
I'm not old, but she could be my daughter. But anyway, she's
but
not
like
my
all
daughter.
my friends are always been older. Everybody always call me an old soul because
I forget about
I'm
it.
a middle child, but they call me the little big sister because I'm always acting like I'm the mother goose of the crew.
Yes.
And my older sister, she let me have it too. She don't even curse.
I was thinking, yep, that's what I see.
She be like, yep.
Bossy like my sister.
Yeah, because
everybody thought I was the youngest and my sister was older. They said, "Oh, you're the oldest." Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Oh yeah, that's because TT was a pistol. Pow, pow, pow,
pow, pow.
Right. Elle ain't gonna say nothing. Look, that's me. My big sister, she ain't gonna say nothing because I'm gonna already be like, so what? What you say to my sister?
Yeah,
what?
It takes a lot for me.
Absolutely, but
some people don't think so, but yeah.
But yeah, And
I
that's
got two
already kind of
sides.
talking about that already goes into our next
Parenting
point.
style.
Oh, we skipped over that. We'll get back to
But
that. We'll circle back to that because what we were just talking about just really talks to the point that I was going to. How do we support each other?
How do we support each other?
So
We're just
obviously
there.
we just that was invaluable. The having some time to breathe and just again because like you have an Isaiah, which is 33.
33.
33 when you had
In the
Isaiah.
words of my granddaddy, I was an old maid.
You got to like my dream was to go to Tuskegee University. That's where I was going to go. But when I had Jay, going away for school and all of that, got washed away. They have a lot of different programs now to support, college students with kids, but they didn't have that type of support back
when I
then.
was in school.
And and I didn't know nobody, down south, no family or anything. So like, what was I gonna do with a whole kid? So going away to school was
But if you had to, you could have done it. If you had to.
Right.
Because you like, I'm gonna make it happen. She makes it happen.
Right.
We make it happen.
But going away to school would have just added extra obstacles that, at that time I just didn't see any way around it because childcare is expensive, and then, if say you do have like some type of, daycare or whatever while I'm in school as a full-time student, after school I got homework and this and that. And then, it would have been a miserable experience anyway. All my college friends would have been out having fun, doing things. And, obviously I had dreams of being in a sorority back then. So that it just couldn't have happened. So,
everything happens when it's supposed to happen.
Facts. And just FYI, yeah, I am a member of that sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Woo, throwing up, how we do.
Saying now.
Absolutely. So it definitely happened years later when my kids were older. And everything happens when it's supposed to, right? I have the support. My oldest son loves to cook now. That's what he does. He's a cook. I'm hoping that he will one day go back to school and actually become a chef because he's so gifted, naturally talented. But when I was online,
get you a Jimmy plate.
That part too. Look, we got a couple of sons that can throw down, right? So when I was online, Jay would cook because he was in high school. He would cook for them, and he would pack me whatever he would cook for dinner. He would make me a little plate, and I would take that to work the next day for lunch.
The boys can cook.
Yes, they can.
They can cook.
Yeah, my oldest son, he helped me cross them burning sands because he held it down and cooked for his brothers and for me, and made sure because like I did a graduate chapter, so when I would get off work, I would have to go straight to our sessions. So I didn't get to come home. I would just see them in the mornings when I would get home in the evening time. Sometimes they would already be in the bed for school, but I wouldn't see them till the morning time when we were up getting ready for work. Mm-hmm. I'm getting ready for work and they was getting ready for school. But Jay was like, "Mama, your lunch in there. I made it for you." So yeah. But but circling back to how we supported each other. So not only that, like I said, being there that time and so on and so forth. We would go out of town, and Elle would come stay at the house with the boys. She was like, well, instead of them having to, pack up their stuff, because Isaiah, again, he lived with us, so he had his clothes and a bed, and right. So she was like, it's easier for me to just pack me a little bag, and I'll come over there and Elle had cooked up food and all of that stuff and everything like that.
Everything was still their consistency.
Right. We just wanted to make sure their routine was together. And then she would have to get up extra early because they went to school from our house. So they can get up. She made sure they get on the bus and then go on to work. But not only that, like, we went through everything that a person can go through in life over this almost 20 years. We've been, doing life together. Deaths and births and job loss and, divorces and marriages and
Yeah.
all the things,
Me
and I
calling
didn't.
and
She didn't.
whining to
Right.
her
We didn't.
about my relationship.
Same here. Like, all of that. She went. Obviously, me and James got married, and me and James got divorced. So, I mean, we went through all of those things. I'm remarried now, and she was right there with me
At
when
that
I got
wedding.
right when
That's
I got
another
remarried,
story.
because that's my. Hey, we doing life together.
Yeah, they'll say, hold on, you went to both her first husband, your baby daddy, and a new husband wedding. I'm like, yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
that's my sis. That's my baby mama. She gonna be
She
with
made
me
sure I was going to leave to go to the wedding.
because we got married in
I miss-
Mexico.
Yeah.
And Elle does not do enough for herself at all. She is a
I'm gonna get
selfless person.
better. I'm gonna get better.
She makes sure everybody around her is good all the time, except me, y'all. She ain't feed me today, but we'll talk about that later. She got me starved.
I got to feed her.
Some tortilla chips and some salsa. Listen, when the kids was coming up, I'm finna take a short pause. I'm gonna get back to how she support me, but she ain't supporting me. The kids, she used to cook all the time. She used to feed me. Now she got me starving. Ain't made nothing. Talk about some. I don't want no banana. I want some food.
She's like, did you go shopping? I'm like, yeah. She said, what you get? It's like fruit. She's like, what's this in here?
Everything
Vegetables.
in there.
Yeah,
Vegan.
I'm going to lose this weight
organic.
because I got to lose this weight. So
I
I was
mean,
supposed to make her some pasta,
Bruh.
shrimp pasta. Jared, I still got you too on your pasta. But
Bruh.
anyway, yeah, I got you.
She used to support me better.
I didn't feed her.
But
I
I'm saying, no, but for real, support. If I'm rocking, she rolling. If she got it, I got it, and vice versa. We didn't loan each other money. We didn't bought groceries and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Took the kids, did whatever. Like, hey, the kids, we ain't had no money, like struggling. She like, hey, I'll make sure, when my James is an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. And with any kind of entrepreneurial endeavors, you have ups and you have downs, and we had times where, things was going great, money was rolling in, and we had times where it wasn't rolling in. And nobody over here is rich and never made, but Elle like, hey, I'll take all the boys to get their haircut, make sure that they got what they need, even if we had to wash them out a couple times, like, hey, instead of getting, Isaiah 5 uniform pants, I get each of the boys 2 pairs of pants. So we made sure, she like, I get the pants. I'm like, okay, well then I can get the shirts. Like
I forgot about that.
We made it happen. Thank God we all doing good now, but we've had struggles in life, and she has always had my back. And that's the thing, and I see, stuff about, and especially younger generation, like, just, when you have a blended family, you get with somebody with kids, or, and you bringing the kids in the mix, like I'm just like, if you're dealing with somebody like that don't treat your kids like they treat their own, let them go. Mm-hmm. It ain't worth it. And you may think that it's not affecting your kids or you keeping it away from your kids, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's bull. Straight up bull. Your kids feel it.
They remember it. And as adults, right, just like we remember things.
Yeah.
And and kids, when they eventually, they're gonna tell you the truth. They get come raw. No, they're gonna let you know.
And we're gonna have our kids on here because we think it's important for you to hear from them and their experience, because it's like, just doing this has been things that I learned about, Elle's experience with us, and it's, she just some things that she's learning about my experience as we went through these. So, we want to hear from our kids. We're learning
some things about each other, like, oh, I didn't know that.
And I mean, obviously we always communicated and talked with our kids, but never this specific and focused in. So we're going to have our kids on, and we're going to actually not all together, have them on individually, so they can have their own episode to talk about their experience and what it was like, and you know how they feel like that helped to develop them as, you know, becoming adults, and just, you know, what they loved and maybe what they didn't like
And what they
about having a big, you know, family, having all these siblings, because collectively it's is it 8 of them or 9 of them now?
I have to actually get my fingers and go like
Okay,
this.
so let's start at the top. We got Tiara, Chris, Jamie, Isaiah, Jay, Elijah, Kendall, Spirit, and Gigi. So it's
Gigi.
9 of them.
Yep.
9 of them.
Listen, we have to count names.
Right.
Yep. Miss
So-
Gigi. She's a breath of fresh air.
Ma'am, that girl there is going places.
So smart. Oh my God.
And when I tell you personality,
Yes.
baby.
She's gonna be a triple threat. She loves to sing. And I was singing.
And she loves to dance.
She makes songs off the top of her head.
Yes.
Gigi, what, 4?
No, I think she only 3.
3?
She not
Turning
4.
4. 3. She's 3.
She'll be 4 in a couple
So,
months.
but she has a soul of a 40-year-old.
Oh no, did she just
But-
turn 4?
That's what I thought she did.
Today is what? February the what? 16th?
Gigi's 4.
She's 4. She just
Yeah.
turned 4 last week.
Very talented. And she was just singing. I was like, so I called myself singing a little bit. We were singing together, but she was making this song off the top of her head. And I'm like, this little girl is talented. And not just saying it because it's Gigi, but she really is very talented, very smart. Her mom has homeschooled her, doing an excellent job with this. She's so smart.
When she get ready to go to school, she's already gonna be on point.
Mhm.
And yes, we said she just turned 4 last week. Our old ass baby daddy got a 4-year-old. Yeah, because everybody else is 30 something, 20 something.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the youngest, Kendall, is 20. So Spirit would be 17.
Running everything.
And
I'm
then
just gonna
Gigi
say,
4.
all the girls would have been running the boys, and right now, Kendall, I say running it because we were talking about going somewhere to eat, and they was like, "Well, let Kendall decide where we're going to go." It was something that she was like deciding where we're going to go. I don't know. Did we eventually end up going? I may not have gone out, but yeah, Kendall. It's so funny when I hear the conversations between Kendall and Isaiah. And it was funnier. They used to have a conference call, and this would Spirit would be on a call. Kendall, they'd all be on, like, I guess
They
FaceTime.
got a group FaceTime.
Yeah.
So like it's like a FaceTime. Eliana, Android, she don't know how to work, but they group FaceTime. Like everybody's in the group, and like when you get on it, like say I'm in the group, I don't have to get on it, but I can see they own it, and I can jump in or jump out at any time. So they got a group FaceTime. And they'll get on it or whatever, and then like we'll be on there. Like they have added me, like mama, da 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 da, and then I'll be on there. Then Jamie will join in.
Yeah, I didn't have an iPhone.
Yeah, we got to get you an iPhone for real.
But I think about Spirit, and I would hear her and Isaiah. She was so bossy.
She
I was like, who's the oldest here?
Before, yeah. But Gigi wasn't here yet, but she was the baby,
Yeah.
and she was the boss baby. She was definitely
I
always
think
bossing them
Gigi's
around.
going to take over for
As the boss
Spirit.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
think
can
so.
see that with her
I can-
personality.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
Honey,
'cause-
Spirit. She be like, look, little boy. And it's, Mama Yanni, what you doing? The
Yeah.
conversations was so funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, this girl, she.
So,
And I don't mean that in a bad way. It was a leader, basically.
definitely.
Yeah,
So, last point, we want to talk about parenting styles, which even if you don't have the same parenting styles, does not necessarily mean that things can't work, right?
Ours
Because-
brought balance.
Yeah, because our parenting styles are definitely different. Because why? Look, I didn't even say nothing yet. You already laughing. So, Elle about to fuss, and she gonna talk your face off. Now, Mama Nikki about to get that belt, and it's about to go down. But where we similar, we putting you on punishment, and we gonna be on the same page.
I would whoop. She would be. I don't know. I've never whooped Elijah.
When you whooping somebody,
I only whooped Jay once.
Of course,
once. I'm not gonna say how.
And Jay deserved, and he deserved many more than that.
I just kind of punched him in the chest. I said, "Who you talking to?" And one time, So I'm not a whooper. Isaiah didn't got whoopers, but
barely.
Jay was kind.
But Isaiah didn't really need too many whoopers. You'll find out.
Sorry,
compared to Jay, listen, y'all will find out Jay was the
Jay was Jay. Isaiah was Isaiah.
Jay was the most mischievous of the bunch.
Yeah. So if you call it a whooping, I mean, and that's because he mumbled. We were getting ready, going to school. Y'all was out of town, and I had that house I was renting, and Jay was moving. So Jay mumbled. You know how he get in his attitudes. He mumbled something. I said, "Who you talking to?" He mumbled it again, and then he was on the couch like this. And Elijah may have been in kindergarten. Elijah and Jay, they were like, it was like all that, because like if Mama Yanni throwing hands, then it's a problem because I don't throw hands. I will throw hands, but yeah, I only whooped him once. Never had to whoop Elijah.
Right.
My family know I'm not no big whooper. They'll tell you.
Definitely not.
I will though.
But we definitely have those conversations about that, because that could be a sensitive subject about physics. Right. And I don't know. It's the 21st century. Y'all don't even whoop kids no more.
Right. And the thing is,
if you do, because some people got that old school, you definitely need to make sure you having conversations with the parents and making sure they're okay with physical discipline.
Is it okay? I'm put like this. Who you keeping my kids? My kids beat that butt. And I had told this daycare teacher.
Right.
She's like, I can't do that. I said, okay, between me and you, because you see more than I do, beat that butt. And that's just me. I mean,
so even if you have different styles, you do have to make sure that the other parent is on board. And and again, like we said before, the point of everything is that it's just the culture and the climate today that we just feel like this is needed and necessary, because it's just so many folks out here. Like, it's just more common now than it has ever been to be a blended family. People having, kids, bringing a couple kids from here, a couple kids from there, and coming together. And how do you make that work? Or, you have people that don't have kids, whatever that looks like.
So the tip is,
we want to make sure that, go ahead.
Say, going in, say, okay, I don't whoop my kids, but you can put them in timeout, or you can do this. Or me saying, they're with you. You're responsible for them. Their safety. If you need to whoop that butt and they really, really clowning, and I think most parents or whoever's keeping your kids, they're going to be apprehensive about doing that anyway. So if they do it, it's like, no, you say, well, he was doing this and almost got hurt, and I told him 3 times. Yeah. So like she said, have that conversation and literally talk about your parenting styles. A mom may say, well, I don't whoop them, but I will put them in timeout.
Right.
I may do this. And you say, okay, we can work with that.
Right. And you got to make sure you can work with those things. Mm-hmm. And these are things, it's so many things that I wish I could have told my younger self, because we figured all this out as we went, right? But, we're hoping that by sharing our experience and what we went through and all the different things, all the ins and outs, this will prompt you to have some conversations that maybe overdue or need to be had, or maybe save you from a situation, you know what I'm saying, that you necessarily don't have to go through. Because I had mentioned before, I knew a young lady, they 24 years old, got 4 kids, and she has none, and she's a business owner, ambitious, and I'm like, girl, you need to run. No, ma'am.
What are you signing up?
Right,
and that's a different situation.
Right.
Had she had kids, maybe then it's like, okay, yeah.
But even if she had kids, these are all
someone on here is going to disagree, and that's okay.
Right. But these are things that you need to know, and we hoping that if you are in a situation, you have all the, you go in with your eyes open, right, and you have all the different things that you need beforehand, so that you can make a informed decision, right? So that is all the time we have for today, you guys.
Yes.
So make sure that you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Threads, all the things. And
Follow, like, and subscribe.
all of that.
And share.
And share the Uncoupled Couple. And on TikTok, we are the real Uncoupled Couple. So next time, and until next time,
In between time.
all of that.
See ya.
Peace.
Peace.